The medieval era is commonly romanticized as a time of kings, castles, knights, and damsels. However, this period was far more violent and bizarre than most people realize. In this video, we will take a look at some of the eye-opening realities of the Middle Ages that may not be well known but are sure to make you feel relieved you lived in the 21st century. Whoa! Here's a fun fact to stuff in your thinking cap. Did you know during this period the average life expectancy was a mere 30 years or less? More so on the lesser side. Now that's an intriguing start, isn't it? Now, before we go any further, this is the part of the video where we remind you to like, subscribe and turn on notifications for our channel if you haven't already. This way you'll never miss one of our videos, plus it lets us know you guys support us and you enjoy the content we create. Alright, let us dive into the depths of the Middle Ages, where you'll find a world brimming with peculiar practices that both baffle and bewitch. For instance, in the Middle Ages, men eschewed the use of forks. While spoons and knives were common utensils, forks took longer to gain acceptance. In medieval England, men considered forks a feminine affectation and preferred to eat with their fingers. Isn't that peculiar? Even our beloved animals suffered. During this time, animals could be put on trial for crimes such as trespassing, damaging property, or harming people. If found guilty, these creatures were often subjected to hanging or burning at the stake. Other peculiar practices during this period revolved around social issues. For example, the length of a man's shoes was a clear indicator of his wealth and social standing. Some men's shoes were so long that they required reinforcement with whalebone. Marriage disputes were sometimes resolved through combat, with the husband standing in a hole to make the fight fair while attacking his wife. While on the subject of cruel punishments, did you know that someone who was found guilty of perjury might be forced to wear a badge that showed 2 red tongues? Some were even forced to wear animal masks. The creativity of medieval torment knew no bounds, with one of the most horrifying methods being rat torture. Rat torture was a particularly cruel method of torment used in medieval times. The torturer would place a rat in a half-opened cage on the victim's abdomen and heat it from above. The terrified rat, seeking escape from the heat, would burrow straight into the victim's gut, causing excruciating pain and often leading to a slow and agonizing death. Imagine being sentenced to death by rat. But the level of punishment didn't stop there. If you thought death by rat was a tough one, how about an elephant? In South and Southeast Asia, particularly in India, death by elephant was a method of execution used for enemy soldiers and even local individuals found guilty of crimes such as tax evasion. Getting a ticket or a fine seems way less harsh now, doesn't it? On a lighter note, quite literally, but not to be outdone by the last, was the business of sanitary conditions. Did you know that during the Middle Ages, toilets were rudimentary and basic, even in grand castles? They were often simple holes that emptied directly into the moat outside. Despite their simplicity, medieval toilets were not known for their cleanliness. The waste would flow directly into the moat, leading to foul odors and unsanitary conditions. This lack of sanitation contributed to the spread of disease in many medieval communities. Waste from medieval toilets didn't go to waste either. Enter the waste department. Waste was harvested by gong farmers, also known as nightmen. Nightmen played a crucial role in medieval waste management in Wales and England. They harvested human excrement from castle moats and other sources, which was then sold to local farmers as fertilizer for their crops, creating a circle of recycling or human waste compost of sorts. The unsanitary conditions of these times brought on plagues of unfathomable proportions. In the 14th century, a plague named Black Death killed an estimated 30 to 60% of all Europeans. While plagues and epidemics were not uncommon during the medieval period, very few were as bizarre as the dancing plague that struck Strasbourg in 1518. The dancing plague of 1518 in Strasbourg, France, remains one of the most mysterious and extraordinary events in medieval history. It caused hundreds of people to dance uncontrollably for weeks, with some even dancing themselves to death. The exact cause of this phenomenon is still unknown, with theories ranging from mass hysteria to the ingestion of ergot-infected rye bread, which can produce LSD-like effects. In the Middle Ages, superstitions were deeply ingrained in society, leading to some bizarre beliefs and practices. One such belief was that trepanning, or drilling a hole in the skull, could cure headaches and even exorcise evil spirits. Another gruesome belief was that immurement, the act of building someone into the walls of a fortress, would strengthen the structure. One of the most intriguing artifacts from the Middle Ages is the Codex Gigas, the largest medieval manuscript in the world. Legend has it that the manuscript was written in one night by a monk named Herman the Recluse, who had broken his monastic vows. To avoid punishment, he made a pact with the devil to complete the manuscript, which contains a wealth of human knowledge. As we conclude our journey through the eye-opening realities of the Middle Ages, we're reminded of the many reasons we're grateful to be living in the 21st century. From bizarre superstitions to brutal punishments, the Middle Ages were a time of both wonder and horror. Join us on this channel for more fascinating insights into this captivating era. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Until next time, and never stop wondering.